Holy shit! Who's that old man? He was able to stop the person ranked 5th on the Heavenly Immortals? Incredible! He gained the upper hand against Blaze in a fist fight. Valerno sure has tons of hidden gems. Even a random old man is so strong. Many people were shocked by Cornelius' ability. They didn't expect a scrawny old man to win against Blaze when it came to physical strength. It sure was a rare sight. Who the hell are you? How dare you stop me? Blaze's face burned in humiliation. He came here from Oakvale to show off his strength, yet he was shut down almost immediately. Nobody important, Cornelius replied calmly. So you won't tell me? All right, then. I'll pry the answer from your lips today. Blaze quickly launched another series of attacks. This time, his target was Cornelius. Quake break. Blaze began throwing his fists toward Cornelius at an incredible speed. His fists were so flammable that a slight contact was enough to ignite a fire. Such useless tricks, Cornelius seemed unaffected. He began to counter Blaze's strikes. Instead of using brute force, Cornelius' moves were gentle. He skillfully pushed Blaze's fists aside. It made Blaze's ferocious attack useless against Cornelius, since it was like hitting a ball of cotton. Celestial Crush. Blaze was angry. He gathered all his true energy before striking out again. This time, his punches were much faster and stronger. Still, Cornelius was able to swiftly evade Blaze's attacks. By now, everyone could see that Cornelius was far stronger than Blaze. Seeing how ineffective his attacks were, Blaze finally yelled, "Frostine, give me a hand." Immediately, Frostine drew her sword. Then she launched herself toward Cornelius. Her blade was swift and ruthless as she struck out unexpectedly. At the same time, her sword exuded an aura so cold it froze the air it cut past. Blaze's punches were powerful and direct, but Frostine's strikes took him by surprise. Her attacks would come at various angles. The two of them combined made them a formidable force, as expected of Ice-Fire duo. Most divine-level martial artists would have been defeated by now. However, Cornelius surprised everyone by countering their attacks with ease. When did you have someone like that in Valerno, Sir Reeds? Conrad was surprised. From how Cornelius held up against the Ice-Fire duo, Conrad figured he must at least be a semi-grandmother. A master of this caliber should be highly sought after. I don't know. I've never seen him before. Ronald shook his head. It was a cunning move. He couldn't accept his loss. It matters not who I am. I won't let you escape the consequences of laying a hand on Sir Fies. Camelius' gaze hardened as he launched another strike. His palm launching with relentless force since Blaze was an enemy. He didn't need to show mercy. Outrageous. A sudden, thunderous voice shattered the air, causing the lake's surface to ripple. Those who stood by the lake felt their breathing hitch, and their ears rang. It almost felt like a mountain was pressing down on them. A piercing whistle accompanied the thunderous voice. A stream of brilliant white light shot toward them from the end of Shinefield Lake. It left a long trail in the air. It carried an explosive force, and it was aimed directly at Cornelius. Wherever the light traversed, it split the lake in half like a blade cutting through jelly. How Cornelius' expression turned grim, targeted by the oncoming power. He could only cross his arms and exert all of his true energy to defend against it. The brilliant white light surged forth like a meteor. It hit Cornelius and his protective true energy barrier. An explosive boom reverberated in the air. In the next instant, it was like Cornelius was hit by a train. He hurtled a long distance backward, blood spraying from his mouth. Following the attack, the brilliant white light descended gently. It swayed in the wind. Unbelievably, it turned out to be a leaf. A flying leaf capable of inflicting harm from 1,000 meters away. That was the power of a grandmother. What? After witnessing Cornelius flying, the crowd was dumbfounded. They were aware of his skills from his earlier performance. He had single-handedly defeated Ice-Fire duo. It was nothing short of imposing yet. A formidable martial artist like him was severely injured by a single leaf. It was truly astonishing. The most remarkable part was that the leaf had shot out from more than 1,000 yards away. Who could have injured a semi-grandmother without even showing themselves? He's here. Amidst the gazes of many, an elderly man with a youthful appearance appeared at the end of Shinefield Lake. He wore a white robe and had his hands folded behind his back. He strode across the surface of the lake as if it were solid land. With every step he took, ripples that looked like lotuses appeared. It made the aquatic life beneath him leap from the water in response. At first glance, it looked like a divine being had descended from the heavens. As he moved amidst clouds and mist, every gesture he made exuded an otherworldly grace. He walks on water. That's an unmistakable grandmother. Someone cried out from the crowd. At that moment, everyone burst into excitement. Many of them had never seen a grandmother before, let alone one at such close proximity. Grandmasters were like divine beings, distant and elusive. Seeing a grandmother up close was undoubtedly an awe-inspiring experience. Mr. Klein. Terry's expression lit up in joy at the elderly man's appearance. The weight that had been pressing down on his heart finally lifted. His senior's defeat had troubled him. Now that his mentor had made his entrance, he would naturally be able to contain the situation. Is that Augustus Klein? His reputation is well-deserved. Phil was delightfully surprised. A mere leaf from 1,000 yards away could defeat a semi-grandmother. The sheer strength displayed was truly awe-inspiring. Ha ha ha, our savior has finally arrived. After a brief moment of shock, Maggie was thrilled. With a grandmother present, nobody would dare cause trouble with the Doyles. Ha, Augustus Klein has arrived. That Dustin brat is as good as dead today. Sitting in a wheelchair, Brittany smirked in satisfaction. The water sphere exploded with a pop. Even the fish inside exploded into a bloody mist. Augustus frowned at the unexpected scene. Though he had made a simple attack, it wasn't an attack an ordinary person could defend against. Augustus Klein, your opponent is me. Dustin stepped out while shielding Cornelius. So you're Dustin Reese? Augustus gave him a once-over. His gaze was sharp, cold, and imposing. He exuded an air of indifference, resembling a god looking down upon insignificant mortals. That would be me. Dustin was stoic. Break your limbs, destroy your core, and apologize to Terry on your knees. That way, I will let you live. Augustus spat out coldly. Although his tone was relatively composed, an underlying dominance was unmistakably present. Hey, Reese, did you hear that? Hurry up and destroy your core, then kneel and apologize. Terry yelled arrogantly. He wouldn't pass up the chance to humiliate Dustin. After all, Dustin would be entirely under his control once he lost his cultivation. HMPH, you're lucky to be able to keep your pathetic life, Maggie sneered. She crossed her arms with disdain. Augustus was too kind. She would have ended him with a single strike instead. We haven't even started our fight, but you're already making bold claims. Aren't you getting ahead of yourself? Dustin said impassively. What? You're still brave enough to challenge me? Augustus cast Dustin a sidelong glance. It was just a glance, but a fierce wind roared around them. Even water rippled endlessly. No, you've got it wrong. Dustin's gaze grew increasingly sharp. I'm not here to challenge you. I'm here to cripple you. His words ignited a frenzy among the crowd. What the fuck? Is this guy out of his mind? He actually spoke to Augustus like that. This guy is too naive. He has no idea how terrifying a grandmother can be. How is he so arrogant at his age? He's practically asking for death. Dustin's words had caused a tremendous stir among the crowd. Some admonished him, some sneered at him with disdain, and others sought to add fuel to the fire. Who did he think Augustus Klein was? Arrogant brat, you must die today. Not even the emperor can save you. Though Augustus was slightly taken aback, he soon erupted in fury. He shot across the air as he launched a palm strike in an instant. The lake divided in half, and a surging wave emerged. A massive pillar of water suddenly shot up into the sky, resembling a giant python. It twisted around twice before crashing down violently on Dustin.